Hi. Thank you for attending today's reading. Let's begin. I almost got trapped in a dream. So a few weeks ago. I can't really remember. I was asleep. And it was around 5 o'clock in the morning, and around this time I started to notice that I'm always having these weird, creepy lucid dreams that just look really real. Anyways, I got up at 5 in the morning and went back to sleep. And around this time I started to dream. In the dream I was in my house. It was very dark and eerie, as if something was happening. Then I found myself rushing to my bedroom to pack my things, I guess. I then proceeded to run outside where my mom and dad were at and got in the car as we drove off. As I'm in the car, I keep telling myself to stay in the dream. And I could tell that my dream didn't want me stay, because as I'm telling myself this, everything around me starts to become distorted. As if this dream reality was shifting and trying to kick me out. I eventually managed to stay in the current dream I was in. But I soon realized I was stuck. Like I literally couldn't wake up. So I had to tell myself over and over again, wake up. Wake up. After the 4th time repeating this, I eventually woke up. And I felt really strange. As if I was in another world and not the real world. End of story. Next story. Kind of missing sister. When I was about 12, me and my mom were having a conversation about my dad. He moved out of state when I was really young. We got on the topic of how many kids he had, and she told me this unbelievable story of how I have a whole other sister that none of my other family members know about. She started off saying how she was hanging out when my dad's cousin and they were drinking. I guess him and my dad weren't on the best of terms at the moment, because he started telling my mom everything. So apparently a few years after I was born, while he was messing with my half-brother's mom, he was messing around with a lesbian couple. One of them got pregnant. Neither of them really liked my father, so they hid the pregnancy until they were about to leave the state. When they told my dad, he didn't care and they just left with my baby sister. I know I may never find her, but it would be amazing if I did. She would be around 12, 13, maybe 14. I have no clue, because I was never able to meet or even see a picture of her. Me and my mom were both in tears by the end of her telling me that. I so badly want to find out who she is. End of story. Next story. I am so tired of being so weak. I'm sitting here typing this at 3 in the morning all alone. I tried to be everyone's friend and thought they would be here for me when I needed them. But they couldn't share my baggage. Even for 5 minutes, just let me express myself. I have to live with it. I shared in all your pains to comfort you, and yet when it is my turn I am cast away. All because I opened up after years being introverted. I didn't ask for depression or bipolar. No, I am forever alone. Only person I can speak to is someone who I have to pay, and anonymously online. But that is not why I feel weak. My anger and disappointment will get me through that, as well as the love for my son. Also, the money I save in not hanging out with people means I can donate more than 2.5% of my wealth a year. As part of my depression, I lay awake here in an empty home thinking about stories I have read of others. I have read stories of children around the world. Children washing up on beaches drowned, whose only crime was their parents wanted to bring them somewhere safer. Children in hospitals being visited by Santa, Big Bird, and you name it, asking Santa to give them more life. Hearing Big Bird say he is their friend and then peacefully going to sleep forever. Unwrapping a Paw Patrol toy they will never play. As I write this, tears come down my face. Again, is it the depression? I don't know. But no matter how much I make and how much I donate, these stories never change. I try to draw pictures of them to honor their memories, but I am not a great artist and I have so much to learn. But there is only so much time in the day and I have only so much money. I cannot do anything meaningful and I don't have the talent or the skill to be able to anything. If there is a God, how can it allow this? I am willing to give whatever it takes, but I want to live in a world where every child can live to see their 21st birthday relatively comfortably. Why in the modern world is that too much to ask? I don't want the latest phone or latest gadget. God, take all the years you want from me. I'm 35. I've lived long enough. Take whatever time I have and give it to a child dying in a hospital bed. It is the only thing I have to give anyway. And that is why I'm tired of feeling this weak. I have nothing that can really help anyone. There are super smart and extremely rich people out there and I feel guilty. If only I had studied harder, been smarter, I could have done something or made more money and used that. Is this just me or is anyone else there feeling this way? Is no one else tired? I just get so angry when I see useless medication advertisements. TV glorifying the worst of our race, etc. The list goes on. Is no one else tired of being this weak? I am trying and failing. I know I can never be the hero these kids need, but someone else out there could be. I don't even know where to begin. But my wish is that someone who has the qualities needed reads this or something similar in their life and is fired up to try and do something. I may not live to see it, but I hope there comes a day when a child dying is a distant memory. End of story. Next story. What is an interesting way that someone you know has become wealthy? I'll start. I met a guy who was a teaching assistant in my undergrad program at my university in the early 1980s. He didn't work aside from school. He was finishing his PhD. And he lived very nicely. Which is odd for a grad student. He hosted a study session at his home and told everyone how he came into his wealth. He married a woman shortly after he graduated college. This was probably in the mid-1970s. They had a good partnership, as he reported. In the late 1970s, her father died. Mother was already passed. And she split a sizable inheritance with her brother. Think each one received about $5 to $8 million. She decided to return to school and complete her degree. Within the first quarter, she meets another woman and falls madly in love with her. Within a very short time, she leaves my friend and flies to Hawaii with her new love. They have a wedding ceremony. Same-sex marriage was not yet legal and she hadn't started divorce proceedings yet. As a part of their time on the islands, they rented mopeds and took a trip across a mountain pass. On the way down, the brakes on both mopeds failed. Both women went over the side of the pass and were hurled into a deep ravine. Both died. So, he was still married to her. She hadn't spoken to anyone else about her plans to divorce my friend and she hadn't engaged a lawyer. They had wills and he was her beneficiary. Within a very short time, he received the entirety of her estate. I asked about the brother and if he protested his bill getting all the sisters' money. My friend told me that her family, what was left, loved him and wanted him to be happy. Short take. Wife gets rich, leaves him for another woman, dies and leaves him millions. End of story. That is all for today. If you want to support my automated channel, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.